Minister of State, Stephen Morgan.
With permission, Madam Deputy Speaker, I will make a statement on the Government's plans to deliver additional places in school-based nurseries and a clarification on the Government action on so-called top-up fees for funded childcare hours. I will also update the House on the Government's response to the consultation on safeguarding requirements in the early years foundation stage framework. The Secretary of State has promised a new era of child-centred government, working alongside the sector to deliver meaningful long-term reform of the early years system. This government believes that all children deserve access to brilliant early education, regardless of who they are and where they come from or their parents' income. Today marks a significant step for thousands of families as we begin the first stage of the Government's plan to deliver 3,000 new expanded school-based nurseries. From today, primary schools can apply for up to £150,000 grants with a £15 million capital funding pot to make the changes needed for their site to accommodate a nursery. These new and expanded nurseries are set to open across England from the start of next school year. We have chosen to expand school-based nurseries because schools are at the heart of our communities. School-based nurseries cater for a higher proportion of children with special educational needs and disabilities and offer a higher share of nursery places in the most deprived areas. In order to support our most vulnerable children and build on the existing market, this funding will be available for projects that are either school-run or delivered on the school site by private and voluntary providers or childminders. Schools will be asked to work with local authorities to demonstrate local parental demand for places. If there are primary schools who are interested in this programme who are not currently ready or eligible to host new nursery places, we would encourage them to register an interest for the future. We expect funding to be allocated to successful schools in spring 2025 to support delivery of the first nursery places from September 2025. As we expand childcare system, it is crucial that early education and childcare remains fair and accessible to all parents. That is why we're taking action to address where parents are facing high and additional charges on top of the funded entitlement for hours. These charges, which may include mandatory fees for nappies, lunch or additional hours, should not be a condition for accessing a funded place. Now, the vast majority of providers are working hard to make sure that parents can access their entitlements, but any sort of mandatory additional charging or preferential treatment towards parents who purchase optional extras is not acceptable. Over the next few months, my department will engage with local authorities, providers and parents to develop and clarify guidance on this issue, including the so-called top-up fees. We will support local authorities to protect parents from overcharging. I want to turn, if I may, to new childcare entitlements. In September, working parents of children aged 9 months and above were able to access 15 hours per week of government-funded early education for the first time. I can now confirm that over 320,000 additional children are now accessing this new entitlement. Delivering this scheme has not been without difficulty and owes much to the collaboration between local authorities, providers and the work of my right honourable friend, the Secretary of State, who has made ensuring the rollout a priority. At the same time, we are helping the sector deliver the necessary places for September 2025. This final, more challenging phase of the rollout will increase the funded childcare entitlement of working parents to 30 hours per week. Madam Deputy Speaker, trust matters in politics, and that is why I want to reiterate this government's commitment to honouring the promise made by the last government to deliver these entitlements. But honourable and right honourable members should be in no doubt. This will be an extremely difficult task. There remains a significant shortage of staff and places. The government spending watchdog has said that to deliver the rollout in some parts of the country, we will need to double or even triple capacity to deliver additional hours. These are substantial gaps to fill, left behind knowingly by the party opposite. So we must be honest with parents and families across the country that in some parts of England, where parents may receive the hours they were promised, they might not get their first choice of nursery or childminder. I want to assure the House we We will continue to work tirelessly to bridge the gaps in time for next September, and our plans to expand primary school-based nurseries will help us deliver these entitlements. Our priority is to grow high-quality education and care for children, whilst ensuring their safety in order to give every child the best start in life. Today, the Department has published its official response to the consultation on proposals to strengthen safeguarding requirements in the statutory Early Years Foundation Stage framework. These reforms are set to be implemented from September 2025. The changes being made to the framework are based on lessons learned from tragic past events, responses to our consultation, and feedback from safeguarding experts and the sector. The consultation received 1,470 responses, with strong support for all proposals. The Department will therefore implement all of the proposals, including those on safer recruitment, child absences, safer eating, safeguarding training, and paediatric first aid training. Additionally, new proposals in providing employment references and supporting whistleblowing will be introduced. These changes will formalise existing best practices and ensure all early years educators have the knowledge and support that they need to deliver the safe, high-quality early education and childcare. Now, as many parents know, childminders are a key part of the early education and childcare market, providing choice and flexibility. And we already are delivering childminder start-up grants to support new childminders with the costs of registering. From the 1st of November, we will introduce new flexibilities for childminders to help them join and stay in the profession. These changes will create a new category of childminder, and we can work entirely from non-domestic premises. The total number of people that can work together under a childminder's registration will also increase from 3 to 4. Childminders will also have more flexibility to operate from more time outside of domestic premises, such as from a community hall or school. These new flexibilities will further support the Government's commitment to roll out expanded childcare entitlements and give children the best start in life. Parents' need for childcare does not stop at primary school age. Since July, we've allocated over £130 million to local authorities to begin delivering these new places for parents of primary-age school children as part of the National Wraparound Childcare Programme. Initial delivery plans indicate this programme will deliver up to 200,000 new childcare places at either end of the school day, available in over 50% of all primary schools. But we want to go further, to support hard-working families and tackle disadvantage. That is why I committed in our manifesto to introduce free breakfast clubs in every primary school. Breakfast clubs can have a tremendous positive impact in helping children to arrive at school on time, ready to learn, and they also support working parents to have more choices in the workplace. From April 2025, free breakfast clubs will be available in up to 750 early adopter schools, and this will be part of the test and learn phase. New breakfast clubs, once rolled out nationally, will be available to every state-funded school with primary-aged children. It will provide parents with more affordable childcare choices and support families with the cost of living. Children will be able to start the school day ready to learn, giving them the best start in life and in their education. Madam Deputy Speaker, the Government is determined to break down barriers to opportunity that must start before school, with high-quality early education which is both available and affordable. We inherited a pledge without a plan, and this Government has got to work delivering the change families need. We will deliver places in new nurseries, tackle unfair top-up fees, and ensure every child can get the best start in life. I commend this statement to the House.
Just for newer colleagues, interventions are not made on ministers or shadow ministers. And I now call the shadow minister, Gagan Mahindra.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Can I thank the Minister for advance sight of his statement? The government benches may take this opportunity to create a fictitious narrative of the alleged failures of the former government on early years and childcare. But it will not wash with us, and it will not wash with the British public. And that is simply because our record on childcare is strong. So let me take this opportunity to remind the Government and the House exactly what that is. In 2010, we extended the 3- and 4-year-old entitlement, commonly taken as 15 hours a week for 38 weeks of the year. In 2013, we introduced 15 hours of free early education a week for disadvantaged 2-year-olds. In 2017, we doubled the 3- and 4-year-old entitlement to 30 hours per week for working parents, as well as introducing tax-free childcare, which meant that for every £8 you paid in, the government would automatically add £2 to support childcare costs on top of the 3 hours entitlement. And in March 2023, we announced the biggest expansion in childcare by a UK government in history. This set out to provide working parents access to 30 hours of free childcare a week from when their children are 9 months old until they start school, and save families an average of £6,900 per year. Why we did this was simple. Childcare is one of the biggest costs facing working families today, as well as one of the biggest barriers to parents returning to work if and when they wish to do so. And I want to take this opportunity to thank early year providers, local authorities, membership bodies and other key partners that have made delivering this possible. I welcome the fact the government has finally agreed that rolling out our childcare expansion will empower parents in making the choice that is best for them, and are committed to doing so. I am, however, disappointed that the government didn't do more to spread awareness to parents of the childcare entitlements that became available in September. Will the Minister confirm whether there was any unspent budget for this? And will he now commit to increasing the publicity of childcare rollouts going forward so that parents are rightly aware of their entitlements? Of course, this side welcomes the expansion of childcare and supports the idea of utilising unused space within schools, which provides a single point of contact for parents with multiple children. Can the Minister now confirm to the House the number of childcare places the first 300 new or expanded nurseries will provide? The government previously pledged to deliver 3,000 nurseries to support 100,000 childcare places. Can the Minister confirm the timeline for delivering the rest of these nurseries? And whether the government is still committed to creating 100,000 childcare places across the country in the long term? Finally, the Education Secretary has confirmed that early years in childcare is her #1 priority, which I wholeheartedly support. However, the government's education tax will mean that children in classes where one child is 5 years old, or due to turn 5 by the end of the year, will be subject to this government's retrograde education tax, regardless of their age. Will the Minister confirm that this is indeed a broken promise? And how can the British public trust the Education Secretary's word going forward that she will prioritise early years in childcare when she's already broken her promise within the first 100 days of a Labour government?
May I thank the Shadow Minister for his response and welcome him to his place. I know that he will want to be a keen champion for the early years sector. I'm glad to hear him welcome the update that I've given to the House today. As we have heard in the statement, Labour is committed to delivering expanded entitlement across government, and however this government has left significant challenges. The previous government left significant challenges, and we are not shirking from that responsibility. With Labour, the early years sector can rest assured that we will be working tirelessly to deliver wider sea change in early education, as well as high and rising standards throughout the whole education system. On some of the specific points that he raised, I've been very clear from the consultation engagement that I've done with parents and providers so far that we have inherited a plan without a pledge, and the consequences of that are inherited delivery challenges around workforce and places. I appreciate the points he made with regards to the workforce, and I do believe that by resetting the relationship with the workforce, we can have a much positive relationship with the sector going forward. With regards to the entitlement offer, obviously over 300,000 children have benefited since September of this year, which I think demonstrates that we are actively engaging and working with parents to promote opportunities to take up this offer, and will continue to do so. With regards to school-based nurseries, I will add obviously the pilot, the test and phrase is for 300 places from April, and our ambition is for 3,000 over the course of this Parliament, and I look forward to working with the Honourable Member to constructively bring about the change that early years so desperately needs.
Stella Creasy.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. And can I thank the Minister for all the work he is doing to right a much overdue wrong. It is extraordinary, frankly, to hear the Shadow Secretary of State trying to claim credit for something which one of the things that this government has done today finally puts to rest a concern that many of us tried to raise with the previous government. So can I thank the Minister for being honest enough to finally publish the data about the numbers of people we need working with our children to make these plans happen. The previous government always avoided the question, and now we can see why. Because the data shows that we will need an extra 35,000 people working within our childcare sector by autumn next year to fulfil these pledges, an extra 6,000 by the end of this year. Could the Minister tell us a little bit more about his workforce strategy? We take our hats off to those people who look after our children. This government, I know, wants to invest in them, but we need a lot more of them. What can we do to make that happen?
May I thank my honourable friend for the tireless work that she does in speaking up for children and young people and parents up and down this country. As she rightly says, we are working hard with the early years sector to recruit the staff that we need, including those through the extended recruitment campaign Do Something Big, to attract more people working in the early education system and ensure that there are good training pathways into careers in early education. We are resetting the relationship with staff across the education sector to ensure that they are respected and valued for the important work that they do. School-based nurseries currently have lower turnover and have the option to use some staff more flexibly between reception and early primary schools. So I'm really looking forward to cracking on with delivering on those commitments.
We have the Liberal Democrat spokesperson, Ellen Solon, with your 2 minutes.
I'm suffering for my previous speaker, the member for Eastbourne. I will try to stick to the 2 minutes. Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, and thank you to the Minister for sight of his statement. Madam Deputy Speaker, the Liberal Democrats believe that flexible, affordable childcare and early years education is a critical part of our society. High-quality early years education is the best possible investment in the future and contributes to economic performance in the present as well. And perhaps most importantly, is the most effective way we have of narrowing the gap between rich and poor children. So broadly, we welcome the government's promise to expand access to affordable childcare and early years education. Under the previous government, we saw what happens when big promises on childcare aren't backed up by the funding and resources needed to deliver them. Their plans risked exacerbating the problems parents already face: a lack of childminder places and eye-watering fees. Madam Deputy Speaker, the number of childminders in England fell by an estimated 26% between 2018 and 2023. And last year, a report found that 35% of nursery managers would limit the number of places they offered unless the government helped with recruitment. Now, I note from the Minister's statement some steps the government is taking to improve recruitment and retention in the childcare and early years sector. But will the Minister agree with me that what is also needed is a career strategy for those working in early years, including a training programme, so that all those working with young children are properly trained and supported? And can he give us assurances that the places announced today will be properly supported by committing to a full review of the rates paid to providers for free hours to make sure they cover the actual costs of delivering that high-quality childcare? Thank you.
I thank my honourable member for his statement and welcome him to his place. As he knows well, there are some core challenges, as he identifies, that exist for the early years sector to deliver on our government's agenda to expand childcare. As I made clear in my statement, this announcement today contains some of the key steps that we're looking to take to deliver for children, to ensure that they have safe, supported systems to help them succeed in life. I know that he will support our ambition to ensure that every child, no matter where they come from, can succeed in life. Turning specifically to the points that he raised, he absolutely is right to focus on disadvantage, which is a key priority for me as a minister. If we are serious about breaking down barriers to opportunity, we need to think about the impact that this will have on the most disadvantaged in our society. With regards to childminding, we've seen the halving of the number of childminders involved in the system over the years, and absolutely want to reset that relationship, and the new flexibilities we're announcing today I think will make a big difference. And finally, with regards to funding, he will appreciate that that's a matter for the spending review.
David Burton-Sampson.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, and thank you to the Minister for bringing forward, finally, a realistic plan for expanding childcare, and I know one that my residents in Southend West and Lee will welcome. Certainly the parents in Southend West and Lee will welcome. Can the Minister give me some assurances that childminders, who are a key part of the childcare arrangements, will still be a key focus? And can he give me an further idea of how they will be supported moving forward?
I thank my honourable friend for his reply. Childminders are the key part of the childcare market, as I mentioned, providing more choice and flexibility to parents. From next month, the government plans to implement new flexibilities to help childminders join and stay in the profession. These will include enabling childminders to work from non-domestic premises, as I mentioned in my statement, and increasing the number of childminders that can work together, improving access for children to new experiences out of home and encouraging socialisation. As we seek to deliver a sea change in our approach to early years, we want partners to work with us closely with childminders to push for better.
Father of the House, Sir Edward.
There are, of course, countless millions of free childminders available. The love between a grandparent and a grandchild is the purest love. It is love without responsibility, and I declare personal interest. Will the Minister assure me that he will obviously incentivise grandparents to look after their grandchildren, and that nothing in the tax or benefit system will discriminate against mothers who want to look after their children full-time? And will he build on our own scheme of transferable allowances?
I thank the Right Honourable Member for his question. Obviously, families have an important role to support children in their first few years in life, but what obviously we're committed to doing is make sure that we're breaking down barriers to opportunity for every child in every part of the country, and our childcare system has a key role to play in that.
Sean Davies.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. As a former school governor and also, frankly, as a dad, I see the amazing work that preschool and nurseries do up and down the country. And this is a key way to break down barriers of opportunity and to get this country growing, as the Minister has said. Will the Minister to commit to making sure that children in care and children of those in the armed forces are also prioritised for this additional care places? And finally, Madam Deputy Speaker, a reassurance that we are on the side of childminders, because childminders in Telford have missed the memo from the government on this particular set of improvements.
Minister.
I thank my honourable friend for his questions, and I know that he is a champion for children and young people in his constituency already since he joined this place. He raises a number of points around childminders, support for those that are in care, and also children from military families. Obviously, as someone that represents the heart and home to the Royal Navy, I take these matters very seriously and will certainly consider the points that he raised as we design a system fit for the future.
Greg Smith.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I am incredibly proud of the previous government's massive expansion in the childcare offer, and I'm genuinely pleased the new government is carrying through with it. But when it comes to the on-school expanded nurseries, can I ask the Minister what mechanism is going to be put in place to ensure rural communities like mine in mid-Buckinghamshire get an absolute locked-in fair share of those new facilities?
I thank the honourable member for his question. Obviously, this is a party that wants to govern for the whole country, and as we saw at the election in July, where we won so many rural seats, we will certainly take the views and ambitions of rural communities so seriously. If he has particular points he wants to raise with me to make sure the rollout works well in his own constituency, I'm very happy to meet with the honourable member about those issues.
Alistair Stratton.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. So many families struggling to find affordable childcare across my Hitchin constituency. I really welcome the Minister's announcement today, and I'll be encouraging local schools to take part in the pilot scheme. I also welcome particular focus on the exclusionary nature of top-up fees, which don't just run counter to the nature of the scheme, they all too often leave those most in need of affordable childcare unable to access it. But will he assure us that as he takes the right and robust action needed to clamp down on this, he'll work with the sector to ensure the wider viability of providers who all too often were left on the brink by the previous government's mismanagement of childcare?
I thank my honourable friend for his question. I've heard this message loud and clear from parents up and down the country. My honourable friend, I've promoted you already, I've heard this message very clearly from constituencies up and down the country too. Where providers are seeking to put fresh barriers to access, we will not tolerate them. We will make guidance on this area very clear and consistent as possible to support hard-pressed families as we deliver this sea change in early years.
Jim Shannon.
Deputy Speaker, can I thank the Minister very much for the welcome news today. I think there's anybody that listens to it can only say well done and thank you, and I think that would be the answer. In Northern Ireland, my party colleagues within 7 months have designed a scheme, slashed childcare bills by 15%, saving parents up to some £660 per month. The Northern Ireland Childcare Subsidy Scheme has saved parents about £1 million for the month of September alone. 13,000 children signed up in the first 4 weeks, and that is, Madam Deputy Speaker, to say DUP delivery. Does the Minister have any plans for impending greater support on a UK-wide basis so that better communication and better partnership can blossom and grow? Thank you.
I always enjoy interventions and questions from my honourable friend opposite, and I want to assure him that following my visit in opposition to Belfast in April, where I heard childcare is a huge issue in the community there, that there's more that we can do in support of our colleagues in Northern Ireland, and already committed to a meeting with the relevant minister to discuss these issues.
Darren Patten.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Can I thank the Minister for his statement and welcome these measures, which will do an awful lot to help hard-pressed families in my constituency. Would he agree with me that the opposition are suffering something of a blind spot when they look back at their record, which contains years of funding that fell short of the delivery costs, that ignores the exodus of early years professionals, that ignores the 1,400 Sure Start centres closed, and yet they continue to believe that we've never had it so good. Will the Minister join with me in thanking early years professionals in Southampton Itchen, who can finally count on a government which is child-centred, and could he outline how these measures will be targeted at so-called childcare deserts?
I thank my good friend from Southampton for his questions and congratulate him on his election to the Select Committee. I agree with him when he says how shocked he is by the opposition's response to the statement today. This government is focused on the issues to make a biggest difference to working people across the country and deliver the change that we need. Today's announcement is an example of how we will go about doing that. Very keen to meet with him to discuss these issues further, and I appreciate his thanks to the sector and the hard work they do currently in his constituency.
Oliver Ryan.
Deputy Speaker, I hugely welcome this news and funding for schools, children, parents and schools-based nurseries in particular. I hope he looks fondly on applications from Burnley, Padiham and Briarfield in due course. I wonder whether he thinks the capital allocation included in his statement is sufficient for his ambition at the moment. And will the Minister agree with me that in just over 100 days this is a government delivering on its promises?
I thank my honourable friend for his question. I'm absolutely delighted to hear his enthusiasm for this scheme, which will make a huge difference to communities up and down our country. Obviously, we're going through a test and learn phase, starting from April with the rollout in September. We want to learn from that approach and be delighted to work with him on that matter.
Marcus Campbell-Savers.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I strongly welcome the proposed expansion of childcare, which I'm sure will help many families in my Penrith and Solway constituency. Can the Minister outline how this measure will be targeted at areas in the country with the greatest need and those areas that are considered childcare deserts?
We're absolutely committed to being a child-centred government, and it's absolutely vital that we deliver the programme in the areas of most need, and that means making sure we understand where there are gaps in places and also gaps in the workforce, and we look really closely to we look forward to working closely with the sector to make sure that this scheme makes the biggest difference in communities that need it the most.
Deputy Speaker, it's particularly fitting as my son has started preschool today, and many of my hard-working parents in York Outer welcome today's news, but many feel that some providers are taking the biscuit when it comes to funded hours, abnormalities, unfair top-up fees and even restrictions on the days of the week that funded hours can be used. So will the Minister meet with me so I can pass on York Outer parents' concerns about the funded hours scheme?
Very happy to meet with my honourable friend and want to wish his son good luck as he starts nursery today.
Madam Deputy Speaker, saw calves after this morning. Child-centred government is exactly what people in Newcastle Underline want to see, but the disgraceful state of S&D provision in our schools means that we have more to do. So how does this announcement, which I do welcome, sit alongside our commitment to overhauling the SEND system?
I thank my honourable friend for his question. We are reviewing the early years SEND funding arrangements to ensure that they are suitable for supporting the needs of children with SEND. For children with more complex needs and with an education, health and care plan, funding is available via the high needs block of the dedicated schools grant. Local authorities should demonstrate the SEND inclusion funding for children with low and emerging needs. Disability access funding is also designed to support disabled children's access to entitlements.
Cooper.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I think we can probably all agree that every child should have the opportunity to reach their full potential. And regardless of your background or your circumstances or who you know or where you come from, none of that should shape your life more than your talent or your creativity or your determination. So can I welcome this emphasis on the importance of early years, and particularly after the pandemic, measures such as early speech and language interventions can make all the difference. Does the Minister agree with me that now is the time to take early years provision seriously?
I thank my friend, honourable friend, for his question. He's absolutely right. Obviously, the pandemic had a huge impact on children's lives, and our investment in early intervention around speech and language is absolutely key, and I look forward to working with him on delivering this successfully in his constituency.
The final zinger of a question is going to be Josh Simons.
We'll see. Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I'm intrigued to hear the members opposite's attempt to defend their record, since moments ago the member for Christchurch has said that the member for North West Essex is preoccupied with her children and cannot be leader of the opposition while spending time with her family. This comes after the member for North West Essex herself said maternity leave had gone too far. Does the Minister agree with me that while this is a government working hard to back the hope that children represent, the members opposite are, in the end, the same old Tories?
I thank my honourable friend for his question. Early years was cast off under the Tories, and we are bringing it back into the fold as a crucial part of our education system. We're committed to giving every young person the best start in life. I look forward to working with him to make that happen.
That draws that to a conclusion. I just allow the front benches a moment or two to swap seats, get on to the debate.